Okay, so let's talk about Augustin Francisco. And so he is the QEC Regional Manager for TVTC, Technical Vocational Training College. He's a U.S. citizen, although I don't think he's born in the U.S., not that that really matters. So what happened is when they offered me the job in August, and I just couldn't do it. I mean, I couldn't participate in the activities that I would have to be successful. And then they offered the job a second time in like October, November, and I thought, screw it, I'll go over there and we'll take a look at what's going on. So what was happening in January? QEC was on a deadline in January. They had 30 days to make some corrections to the TBCT contract. Now, don't forget, they underbidded this contract significantly. They took the contract at $18 million a year. Now, the previous company that had the contract was Interlink. They were paid $30 million a year. So under the Interlink contract, teachers were paid 16,000 SAR a month. Under the QEC contract, doing the same thing, teachers were paid 87.56 or something SAR. Okay, so we're talking about a significant amount of money less. But of course, we're always going to be talking about the contract fraud, because this is how they got the contract, is they underbid the contracts. Nobody can compete with them. And how do we know that? Well, we've talked to EduGuide, to Interlink, and a couple of other companies that also participated in the bidding process. It's very well known what scheme they're doing. So in January, they were coming up on their first year, and there was some kind of crisis going on. What's really bizarre about this is this guy, Francisco, he's running around the country putting out some unidentified fire. Okay, we don't know. I mean, it had nothing to do with teacher. It had nothing to do with the teacher's professional behavior in the classroom. It was really a mystery of what was happening. And the problem is that there was a kickback going on. You know, when Interlink got the contract, there's no doubt that there's kickbacks. And I don't give a damn if they're paying bribes and kickbacks. We don't really care, right? But the thing is, with the Interlink contract, the kickbacks would have been done before the teacher contracts were even written out, right? With 30 million, they had enough to go around and pay all the TBTC guys off, which is really what they do. They get another salary, if you will, from these contracts. This is just the way it works there. Again, no problem with that. But the problem with QEC, because they underbidded the contract, in order for them to pay this kickback, they have to steal from the teachers. All right? This is why we've got this channel going. This is why we're exposing this fraud. So this clown is running around the country, you know, having these secret meetings, really. Now, don't forget, we're regional managers. We're right below him. He's not telling us anything. You know, there's nothing that we can really do. We're not told that we have to do X, Y, Z to comply with the contract. Okay, everybody was doing their job. Everything was on spot. So there's absolutely no doubt about it. I'm only laughing because when I spoke to the TBTC manager in Damam, whose uncle is the TBTC assistant governor, when I mentioned bribes, of course he denied it, but his face said the whole thing. They're clearly getting payoffs. So this guy's running around the country, you know, putting out these fires, and what he's also doing is he's involved in a huge misinformation campaign. So, for example, we met with him and my staff in, October, November of 2017 to talk about the medical cards. And he was very dishonest. Very dishonest. A lot of misinformation. He's done this all over to a lot of people. With the regional manager who hasn't been paid. I've talked about this regional manager from September of last year, has never cashed a check up to this date, up to today, has never been able to cash the checks. Francisco did nothing, because see, the problem is that in order for him to keep his job, he has to participate in the fraud. And this becomes the ethics of the whole thing, is are you actually going to do that? You know, are you so desperate for a job that you're going to be hammering other people, you know, at the expense of them to keep your own job? You're going to be committing offenses, you know, unethical offenses. And another one is there's this incredibly terrible hotel. It's called the High Hotel in Hafr al Batin. It has a cell phone tower on the roof of it. The whole hotel is electrically charged. I stayed there in November, and the sheets you could run your fingers, and when you move around in the bed, the sheets shoot off electrical sparks. He knew this. I mean, it took me over 6 to 8 weeks to get our 4 guys out of there. I mean, this amount of radiation would have such a detrimental effect on the DNA of these people. Not to mention sleep disturbances. We talked about that. He knew that. There was a whole nother crew there. There was another 20 to 25 teachers there. This place was a shithole, an absolute shithole. Didn't have Wi-Fi, didn't have towels. And again, it's electrically charged. So anyway, it's pretty sickening, actually. I mean, I don't know if it's a psychopath or sociopath, but they have this mentality that I'm going to deceive people, I'm going to cheat, I'm going to lie, to keep your job while you're obviously affecting people's their health, professional well-being. All the managers, the regional managers were fired, all of us, in January for no reason. One regional manager was told that he had a job in, I think it was Jeddah or something, or no, in Augustin, someplace. So they said, yeah, we're transferring you. This guy, Francisco, tells them, yeah, we're transferring you to be the regional manager to this new location. Well, when he shows up, he's no longer the regional manager. He's just a teacher. And this is the deception that you're going to find in the company. And so look, the guy has a choice. I'm not going to stay there. It's not going to be, this is a moral. All right? If you got to keep your job by offending other people criminally, then it's not worth having that job. So Augustin Francisco, good luck, brother, because you're really part of the problem there.